Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the relation of the the relation of gender and artificial intelligence and people, how some people we address this new perspective or new approach to the artificial intelligence. How we think it should be more gender inclusive, this artificial intelligence that are being developing right now. And next slide, please. So I'm going to give you a little quick tour for these topics, and it's going to be a little bit about a queer epistemology. That's my proposal on how to address the gender diversity through artificial intelligence. Also, some methodological aspects about it, theories and framework tools that we can use to improve artificial intelligence in ways that we can include more people and make it more friendly and more open to gender diversity. The challenge behind this kind of implementations and the positive value of this approach to the artificial intelligence. Next slide, please. Well, as an introduction, I would like to start with the concept of intelligence. Usually, uh, usually the concept of intelligence is tend to be a specific way of thinking or a specific way of knowing things. Sometimes this kind of things, sometimes most of the time, this concept of intelligence excludes other ways of creating knowledge. And most of the time, exclude the ways of creating knowledge by people gender as female or feminine or gender like this. So that's why it is totally necessary to address this issue in a way that we can create intelligence that can be genders and racialized and then can work in the most circumstances with frames of kind of justice and ethic to everyone. So as artificial intelligence is a field of research that we are still developing. So it offers an opportunity to shift the assumption about the male and female. For example, we have the narrative of hard and soft intelligence, and it's often gendered as masculine or feminine, respectively. So, as Adrian Wheeler knows, that is how this hard intelligence often through encompass logic and rationality is so much easier to reproduce in technological form. So we're saying that technology in some way is masculine, and we implying from the beginning that the way of creating technologies or the way of knowledge is created is more masculine than feminine. So we can change that, and we can change that to having in count that exists another ways of create knowledge or create intelligence. So that is why during this presentation I propose a queer epistemology for artificial intelligence. So next slide, please. This queer epistemology has to be based in the fact that actually model technology developed right now last or a feministary perspective, and also is well criticized by a lot of trans scientists because it doesn't represent the trans experience through these technologies. So the use of gender technology, the use of gender theory needs to be grounded to future apply trans, non-binary, queer, and post-colonial theory to explore more fundamental barriers, and finally, in somehow reach equality in the design and the purpose of technologies. How we do this? Well, gender theory for AIs are at the beginning we think this is two different things that are speaking two different language. They can be somehow gonna be somehow a bridge that can unite them, but actually they are. And the way we can address this, the way we can create this bridge, or we can create the problems that are present on artificial intelligence when we talk about gender, is with three main focus. The first is the reproduction of stereotypical gender and racialized bodies in robotics. Currently, there is a disjunction between theoretical and suspension of gender, which could be promising for destroying restricted gender stereotypes, and the encapsulation of physical gender stereotypes in technology and robotics. This means that we can start not assume the gender only by some physical appearance of the person, and started to apply it in more beyond that. The second is the use of the language. This is pretty important. Interaction and communication in relation to the system, to the artificial intelligence system. They refer to both use of gendered voices and responses, which the system points out that while sometimes recent students have sought to remove bias from learning algorithms, they largely ignore decades of research on how gender is embedded in language. So this artificial intelligence had to enrich their data to understand better the language and understand better the way how gender are named, ordered, and described, as well the frequency with which they are referred to and the metaphor we use to describe them. And the last one is the reinforming on societal understanding of gender epistemology in artificial intelligence system. It must challenge so structure and incorporate the size of queer epistemology into technology. To do this, we have to have some kind of methodology. And next slide, please. And this methodology has some theories, a framework, and some tools that can help to build in some way start to make it less biased artificial intelligence. In theory, it's enough to understand that queer, trans, feminist, post-colonials, and non-essentialists Gender theories will be used to analyze the design and the functionality of the current and emerging AI technology. And in terms of how we understand the body, the relation between transgenders and body needs to be explored more in order to improve artificial intelligence. It will be also to consider the female body, how we can understand the female body and how we perceive it, and the role that powers and politics play structuring and training these bodies into certain roles or central behaviors, and started to train our artificial intelligence in a way that these female bodies not fall into stereotypes. And another thing that we can address with theory is focusing on intersectionality. This is concentrate us on how race, how gender, and how postcolonialism plays an important role in the definition of what is a people, what is see, what this kind of technology are going to see when they see a body. I think yeah, I think I was clear that way. So we need to, in some way, through theory, improve the narratives that could be considered in artificial intelligence technology. So this can be historically meaningful for the change of the gender norms, and also explore in a better way the relations in society between genders and the different genders. This framework that we have to create for artificial intelligence, it has to be multi-stakeholder, a really familiar word for us. And it had to encourage to designer, researcher, to understand contemporary non-Western conceptions of what define a friend's gender and race, and the other intersection that can play an important role in the identity of a human body. This means that the data this means that the data should improve and should fit into a better implementation of concepts like race, like distinct genders, and should imply from the beginning and the design and the implementation of the different artificial intelligence systems, and the development and the global impact they're going to have, despite or only focus on the regional, because most of these technologies are not only applied or not only having regional impact or local impact, also are having right now a lot of global impact in the life of many peoples. There are several examples right now that I can mention, but right now I remember one in India where trans people are being excluded from the healthcare system because they are using a biometric system to identify people, and when the physical characteristics doesn't coincide with the identity that the people perceive of themselves, so they are being excluded for the system. So it's becoming a a problem, and it's a problem of designing the system from the beginning without include the trans experience from the beginning. And the recommended tool for this will be address the queer theory and artificial and the practical part of the artificial intelligence. It, it will require like synthesize a lot of theoretical work and communicate this work to produce research-based practical tool. These tools should be employed and incorporate in the way that these technologies are designed to be used in the society. And this tool could inform the technological process at all stages, as well the more political aspects of technological creation. This would include data gathering, algorithm designs, the purpose of technology, technological use, implementation, distribution, and in addition, it will explore where the system should not be deployed or will be inappropriate given this goal of the social justice. Well, the challenges of this approach to make less biased artificial intelligence in case of gender diversity. Synthesizing all the theoretical work and the material gathered from the conversing with technologies, the multi-source approach is going to be also a challenge because it will also introduce a value insight into the nature of any disjunction between theoretical and practical definitions of gender and race in artificial intelligence systems. And sometimes we know that the theoretical aspects of how we understand gender is hard to take it to the practice. So it will be a challenge to conciliate those two things, but it's not impossible. And there will be also challenges in deciding how this tool can be framed in order to be implemented easily for any technologies that will be working with artificial intelligence. The value I forgot to say you to change the slide, please. And the next slide, the last one. No, previous. Value of this approach. Yes, I'm concentrated talking and forgetting that. Well, this we have as value for all this queer approach or queer feminist or approach to artificial intelligence is this: we have more collaboration between people from different parts of the world, and well, we want objective that is create more equity and create less biased artificial intelligence. That's good. It will gather a new evidence or based on cultural understanding of the application of this technology in the real life, and when we talk about gender and race. And this technology are often includes exclusive restriction control into relation to gender and race, as explained in the example that I said before. So they could expose the ways in which these technologies are happening to see these technology are happening and be used right now to be restricted on matters of gender and race, and seek to open more solutions or open more inclusive ways to develop technology that can be more open to gender race. And that will be all. Any questions? If there's any or some comments, are more than welcome.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Juan. I have a question. What's the issue, or what's the key to create new technology or new innovations in the future, considering these topics?
Okay. I talk about gender specifically because I started to realize in the last couple of years that most of the implementations of artificial intelligence are biased towards women and gender diverse people. And sometimes this bias came just from the physical appearance or the way they talk or the way they write. So the distinct thing and right now there is a lot of implementation on artificial intelligence in our everyday life. For example, the face recognition systems are based on artificial intelligence and machine learning. So if we have some technologies with a kind of bias towards women, Black people, or gender diverse people being implemented in everywhere without taking any measures. So we're going to have a technology that doesn't going to solve the problems or inequity. It's going to increase those problems. So that's why I explore this issue and I really propose this intersectional way of addressing. Yeah,
Okay, thank you very much.
Well,
Do we have any more questions? Well, if not, I want to thank Juan for the presentation, for sharing with us a little bit of your work on gender and artificial intelligence. I think it's quite interesting to have those different perspectives. And you can say your final remarks, and then we can go back to the main room.
okay. Well, thank you for being here in this session. My final remark is we had to be more aware of the technologies that are being implemented right now around us because are taking a lot of decisions for us, and I decided like the future of many people, and if the technologies are biased, they actually not making the right decisions and they don't help him to solve the humanity problems. Just that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Juan. Well, we have our closing session in a few minutes. We just have to go to the main room. So basically, we're gonna wrap up everything that was discussed today and the tracks that happened. And well, of course, feel free as well to join our networking platform. Well, actually, Juan, is the closing session on Spatial IO or is it in the main session? I'm confused now.
It's in the main stage in the hearing zone.
Yeah. Okay. So we are all going to the main stage, which is Cartagena. So I'll see you there, but also feel free to be in the networking platform. I've sent the link already. Thank you very much and see you there.